This is the story of Jiang Sang-woo, a determined teenager yearning to relish life to its fullest. However, Sang-woo is bound to the routines of studying, working, and maintaining a balanced diet. Consequently, he finds it difficult to pursue his own passions, such as gaming, traveling, partying, and dating. He yearns for a clone who can do all his work while he enjoys life. Little does he know his dream is about to come true. Sang-woo finds himself among a group of participants eager to explore their hidden skills. Nevertheless, he finds the process extremely tedious and yearns to leave and return home. Suddenly, the crowd hears the voice of Won-tae Park, an A-class hunter, who informs them that he is in charge of the 10th Awakening program. This event offers individuals the opportunity to discover their hidden skills by being exposed to mana after passing through a portal. Hoping for a successful outcome, Won-tae Park announces the start of the program and instructs the first group to step forward. Sang-woo, a member of Group 1, steps forward and joins the line, patiently awaiting his turn. When Sang-woo's turn finally arrives, his identity is verified, and he is given instructions to enter a portal located directly in front of him. As he steps into the portal, he is instantly engulfed by a peculiar energy identifying who he is and updating his status screen. With his senses overwhelmed, he gradually regains control of his bearings. Sang-woo is greeted by an intense headache, as if his skull is on the verge of shattering. With a disoriented gaze, he surveys his surroundings and discovers that he is now in a bunker populated by numerous individuals who exhibit signs of shared exhaustion. Suddenly, his attention is captured by a girl whose recent acquisition of a Fire Phoenix skill draws the gaze of numerous agents hailing from various guilds. They approach her, each one extending an invitation to join their respective guilds, recognizing the immense value her skill possesses. Witnessing this spectacle leaves Sang-woo feeling a mixture of astonishment and envy, prompting him to ponder what his own skill is going to be. An agent approaches him and congratulates him on his awakening, inquiring if he has checked his skill yet. Sang-woo informs the agent that he has not yet checked it and proceeds to consult his personal database. As the status window pops up in front of him, he is astonished to discover that his acquired skill is none other than cloning. He also views his stats, which seem so low, making him realize how weak and pathetic he is. However, temporarily focusing on the skill, he proceeds to examine the complete details of cloning. He finds out that the skill can be utilized without conditions, which fills him with a sense of amazement. He feels excited as he contemplates the potential use of his clones, even for his daily chores. Sang-woo engages in a discussion with the agent who stands there, waiting for him to finish the verification. He shares his concern about the low stats and seemingly uninteresting skill he has. The agent understands his apprehension and assures Sang-woo that his skill holds value, and he should be grateful for having acquired it. However, he feels disappointed when he realizes that his skill is still at a very basic level, rendering it insignificant and of little worth. Sang-woo, still feeling nervous, expresses his desire to leave, asks the agent for the way to exit. The agent advises him to approach the officials to finish the scanning to complete the registration process, because the only way to leave is through the portal. Sang-woo reluctantly complies and makes his way inside to fulfill the requirements. Stepping into the registration area, he undergoes the thorough scanning process and completes the necessary paperwork, with the awakened registration form being sent to his identification bracelet. Sang-woo makes his way back home. As he travels, he contemplates the possible worth of his skills and wonders about their nature. Once he arrives home, he resumes his beloved hobby of gaming, finding comfort in it. However, after a short while, he begins to grow weary and abandons it, eventually settling onto his bed. At this moment, Sang-woo reflects on the importance of securing a part-time job to afford his tuition fees and rent. However, the mere thought of taking on additional work leaves him feeling utterly exhausted. In the midst of his contemplation, an intriguing idea sparks in his mind: his newly acquired power of cloning. Intrigued by the possibilities, Sang-woo decides to put this newfound ability to the test, rising from his bed with determination. Sang-woo closes his eyes and takes a deep breath, focusing his energy. As he exhales, an aura emanates from his body, culminating in a flash of light that fills the room. To his astonishment, a perfect replica of himself materializes before him. Gazing at the clone, Sang-woo questions whether it is truly a clone, which the clone affirms. He proceeds to inquire if he can make physical contact with the clone, who responds, "Yes, master." Contemplating the possibility of it being a dream, he slaps his own face only to confirm that it is in fact reality. Overwhelmed, he extends his hand to touch the clone, verifying that its physical presence is not a mere illusion. Sang-woo hands the clone his clothes to wear, and then asks if he only needs to give him an order to make him do something. The clone confirms this, and Sang-woo proceeds to evaluate his obedience and capabilities. He first thinks to make the clone sit, which he quickly does, surprising him for not even needing to speak to give a command. He then tells him to stand and then repeats the same, complying. The clone begins to perform a series of sit-ups repeatedly, becoming exhausted soon. This makes Sang-woo realize that the clone has the same stamina as him. While he is engrossed in observing his clone, his attention is abruptly drawn away by the ringing of his phone. He retrieves his phone from his pocket and discovers a text message from his friend Jung-do, inquiring about the skills Sang-woo has acquired, mentioning that he himself has obtained 2 hunter skills. Reluctant to disclose the true nature of his skill, Sang-woo chooses to downplay its significance, suggesting that it isn't particularly noteworthy. This response prompts Jung-do to chuckle, jesting that Sang-woo, known for his laid-back nature, must have received a skill befitting his lazy persona. As Sang-woo continues texting Jung-do, he receives a notification about an increase in his stamina. He looks up and realizes that his clone, whom he had given the order to sit and stand up, has suddenly vanished. George Lucas, the owner of the Blink skill, is an S-class ranker in America and the leader of the Enlightened group. He was the first person to complete Odin's Tower dungeon, which no one had completed so far. He stands in the Enlightened group's main building discussing the progress of the awakening process in the country. His secretary tells him that 80% of the population has already completed the awakening process. Upon asking, she adds that it will take almost 5 more years to reach the coveted 100 status, indicating that there is still work to be done. Considering that 5 years is not a long time, he decides to wait for it to be completed. Meanwhile, Sang-woo's clone does hard exercises and intense workouts every day, leading to excessive weight loss and a complete transformation in Sang-woo's physique. The people who see him every day are surprised at his dedication and consistency. However, at the same time, he avoids interacting with people and simply runs away if someone tries to talk to him. This makes them wonder if he is an introvert. Meanwhile, Sang-woo monitors his clone's workout by observing the changes in his own physique. Astonishingly, within a month's time, he manages to lose a remarkable 20 pounds and even grows taller. He wonders how it is possible, even when he rested throughout the day and increased his food intake 2-fold despite his relaxed routine. Sang-woo notices a gradual improvement in his stats each day. This makes him realize that no matter how ungrateful he might be, he has been given the skill that he always wanted to have. During this process, Sang-woo also acquires valuable knowledge about the characteristics and limitations of the clones is revealed. It turns out that any pain or exhaustion experienced by the clone does not transfer to the original person. Additionally, the clone undergoes the same bodily changes as the original person. Sang-woo discovers that he can easily give instructions to his clone by simply thinking of the desired actions in his own mind. However, the clone itself is unable to utilize the cloning ability. Sang-woo recalls exploring a website called Hunter Wiki, where he learned about stats. He got valuable information regarding the stats of health, stamina, and endurance, including other special stats that require a hard workout and strong skills to be unlocked. He then goes through his own stats, which appear to be very low but are increasing at a very quick rate. He believes that his stat points could have doubled if he had trained like his clone. However, his laziness overpowers him, leading him to think that he cannot withstand such rigorous training. He then goes through a flyer for a gym, and an idea sparks in his mind. He glances at his computer and grins, saying that he will act as a head from now on while his clone will be his limbs. Yet amidst his excitement, he suddenly comes to realize that his financial resources have been entirely depleted by his voracious appetite. This leaves him with no means to cover the expenses of the gym membership fee, let alone his rent. Woo makes the decision to seek a part-time job at a construction site that would help him earn money and simultaneously improve his physical fitness. With this goal in mind, he begins searching for a part-time opportunity, thinking that he will have to do the job himself the first couple of times. Soon he finds a delivery or drop-off job at Wukong Logistics Center that seems perfect according to his requirements. Recognizing it as a perfect fit for his needs, he promptly contacts the Wukong Logistics Center for further details about the position. He is informed that he does not need to give an interview for the job and simply has to come to the site and start working. He agrees and tells them that he plans to start the next day. However, the person on the other end wants him to join from the very day, making him wonder if there is no one currently working there. Sang-woo arrives at the center with his clone. As they enter the premises, he looks at number 1 and wonders how to introduce him, thinking that calling him his twin might create a problem. After thinking a bit, he instructs number 1 to inform everyone that his name is Gyeongdo and that they are close friends. He then turns to see where to go and unexpectedly encounters Mr. Deokchil, who expresses his surprise at Sang-woo's exceptional weight loss. Sang-woo tells him that he has come with a friend of his to seek a part-time job here. Mr. Deokchil, who happens to be an employee at the same company, directs Sang-woo towards the office where he will receive his work assignment. After he leaves, Sang-woo shares his nervousness with number 1, but is surprised to see his clone completely confident, considering that he is an awakener now. He proceeds towards the designated office space confident in his ability. He is determined to complete his tasks efficiently, eager to finish his work quickly and return home to have a delicious dinner. However, when he starts the arduous and seemingly never-ending tasks, Sang-woo experiences an overwhelming sense of exhaustion. In stark contrast, his clone exhibits an unwavering work ethic seemingly immune to fatigue or weariness. After hours of relentless labor, they get a 1-hour break, during which Mr. Deokchil approaches them bearing food and refreshments. The stamina and resilience demonstrated by the clone left a profound impression on Mr. Deokchil. He asks number 1 about his name and he introduces himself as Gyeongdo, as instructed by Sang-woo, calling his name Manly. He turns to Sang-woo asking if he is okay. The fatigue and exhaustion that Sang-woo is showing makes Mr. Deokchil think that it is his first time working, which Sang-woo agrees with. However, he still appreciates their grit, stating that most people have run away by this time. Deep down, Sang-woo also wants to run away, but his current financial condition does not allow him to do so. Intrigued by Sang-woo's academic background, Mr. Deokchil inquires about the university he attends. When Sang-woo mentions his alma mater Gyeongguk University, Mr. Deokchil's admiration grows. He reveals his desire for his daughter to follow a similar educational path. However, he worries that her academic prowess might not be sufficient to secure admission. Sang-woo reassures Mr. Deokchil that his daughter can indeed gain admission into the esteemed institution. He shares his own experience of being an underachiever who managed to gain admission, stating that she can also do it. Overwhelmed by Sang-woo's encouraging words, Mr. Deokchil extends a proposition. He offers Sang-woo the opportunity to leave this tiresome job and instead become his daughter's tutor. He offers him a 50,000 won salary for teaching his daughter for just a few hours per week, making Sang-woo interested in the job. After careful contemplation, he accepts the offer, and Mr. Deokchil tells him that he will discuss the matter with his daughter and let him know. After Mr. Deokchil leaves, Sang-woo checks his stats and is delighted to see a significant improvement in them. Determined to finish his job for the day after having dinner, he turns around to find that his clone is stuffing his face, gobbling up the rest of the food. Sang-woo woke up the next morning feeling sore from the previous night's work and decided he couldn't push himself like that again. From now on, his clone would take care of all the work. As he observed the stat window, he was surprised to see his strength and stamina had increased. It dawned on him that his clone had been exercising and working on his behalf. Knowing that summoning the clone instantly would cause it to disappear along with its clothes, he signals the clone to return home. As he waits for the clone to return home, Sang-woo proceeds to have his breakfast. Once breakfast was done, the clone walked through the door and Sang-woo immediately instructed it to shower and change its smelly clothes. Intrigued by the clone's effects on his own body, he asked the clone to give him its hand, and he pricked its finger with a pin to see if it would heal naturally, a technique he had learned from the Hunter Wiki. Sang-woo wonders how much time will be required to activate this ability, but out of sympathy for the clone, he chooses not to inflict larger wounds. Before leaving for the gym, Sang-woo hands his clone a spare phone and tells him to eat ramen when he is hungry, and continue to work out. On his way to the gym, Sang-woo runs into his friend Kim Jong-do, who is taken aback by Sang-woo's noticeable change in physique. Sang-woo shares that he has been working out diligently and is actually heading to the gym at that very moment. Concerned about his own weight, Kim Jong-do rubs his belly, suggesting he might need to work out too. Sang-woo agrees and adds that he has fat all over his body. Intrigued, Kim Jong-do decides to join him for the gym session, not only because of his words, but also due to a rumor about a pretty trainer being there. Upon entering the gym, Sang-woo looks around and is impressed by what he sees. They are then welcomed by a trainer who happens to be having lunch. The trainer informs them about a special offer on 3-month membership registrations, which motivates Sang-woo to take advantage of the opportunity. Eager to improve his physical abilities, he quickly signs up for the 3-month membership and requests the trainer's guidance on using the various exercise machines. As Sang-woo begins lifting weights to demonstrate his technique, he finds himself struggling. While the trainer comments on Sang-woo's good posture and gives him tips, everyone's attention is drawn to Kim Jong-do, who impresses them with his incredible strength and stamina as he effortlessly lifts a significant amount of weight. The trainer inquires if Kim Jong-do has been working out for a while, only to be surprised to learn that it's his first time at the gym. Despite that, his strength stat is already at an impressive 21. Observing Kim Jong-do's remarkable abilities, Sang-woo can't help but wonder about the immense strength of high-profile hunters. He realizes that if an ordinary hunter like Jong-do possesses such power, the capabilities of renowned hunters must be truly awe-inspiring. Just as Sang-woo is lost in contemplation, his phone rings, interrupting his thoughts. It's Mr. Deokchil inviting him for a face-to-face meeting at his residence to discuss the tutoring offer that was extended the previous night. Without hesitation, Sang-woo agrees and makes his way to Mr. Deokchil's apartment. During his journey, he reflects on Kim Jong-do's decision not to register for the gym solely based on the pretty trainer not being there, realizing that it might not have been the best choice. Nevertheless, he feels relieved knowing that he can rely on his clone to take care of the gym sessions on his behalf. Upon arriving at the apartment, Sang-woo hears some noise from inside. Curiosity getting the better of him, he decides to eavesdrop on the conversation between Mr. Deokchil and his daughter concerning the tutoring matter. Unintentionally engrossed in their discussion, he doesn't notice when Mr. Deokchil suddenly opens the door, catching him off guard. In his surprise, Sang-woo loses his balance and ends up falling to the ground. In a state of profound embarrassment, Mr. Deokchil invites Sang-woo inside, apologizing for not having noticed his arrival earlier. As he steps into the house, Sang-woo receives a warm greeting from Mr. Deokchil's wife, who admires his noticeable weight loss. Meanwhile, Haeyeon, Mr. Deokchil's daughter, appears nervous, sitting nearby. Sang-woo takes the initiative to explain his intentions of becoming Haeyeon's tutor from that day on. However, Haeyeon feels embarrassed, reflecting on her recent outburst that Sang-woo might have overheard. Despite her discomfort, she obliges when Sang-woo requests to review her academic performance by examining her grades. As he reviews her report card, which displays disappointing marks, the embarrassment of everyone in the room seems to grow, leaving an awkward silence. Then Mr. Deokchil abruptly stands up, putting on his coat, runs for the door, declaring that he's going to work to escape the uncomfortable situation. Acknowledging the challenges Haeyeon faces academically, Sang-woo offers her reassurance and hope. He shares his personal experience of struggling with grades during his own high school years, assuring Haeyeon that improvement is attainable with perseverance and dedication. Encouraged by his words, Sang-woo begins his tutoring session, determined to help Haeyeon. After an intensive tutoring session, Sang-woo concludes his responsibilities for the day and returns home. He feels grateful that Haeyeon possesses more brightness than he initially expected and hopes she will progress well in her studies. With number 1 likely at work, he worries that if the number of clones increases, it will be difficult to get more phones. Sang-woo decides to explore the hunter's web to find a suitable skill that aligns with his abilities, seeking to become stronger. As Sang-woo continues browsing, he does come across skills that align with his preferences. However, their prices are way beyond his budget. Among the most recommended skills are the familiar skill, which allows him to share senses with a pet or a summoned creature, and the telepathic skill, enabling him to send messages to a specific person within range. Even if he had the funds, Sang-woo realizes that he would prioritize buying a house over acquiring these skills. As he contemplates his options, a registration alert for hunters appears on the TV. This serves as a timely reminder for him, and he becomes resolute in his decision to seek a more meaningful use for his abilities instead of settling for mundane tasks. Determined and focused, Sang-woo is ready to embark on the path of becoming a hunter. Fueled by this determination, Sang-woo resolves to take the hunter's license exam. In the year 2000, portals started opening all over the world, unleashing hordes of monsters. This catastrophic event became known as the Great Disaster, as it resulted in the evisceration of half of the world's population. Just when all hope seemed lost, superhumans emerged on the front lines, turning the tide of the war. These powerful beings, who fought and hunted the monsters, came to be known as hunters. In the face of this new reality, Sang-woo diligently prepares himself by watching videos that explain the significance, history, and duties of a hunter. Passing the tests would grant him a license to legally hunt the monsters and contribute to the ongoing battle against the threats that emerged from the portals. The following day, Sang-woo arrives at the bustling Hunter Center, where he is amazed to see various individuals engaging in activities related to weaponry. He also notices the limited number of candidates present specifically for the hunter's exam. Soon, the receptionist announces that the registration test will commence in 20 minutes at the basement floor level 1. Feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness, Sang-woo walks into the registration room with a vibrant entrance, but he becomes embarrassed when he notices many people chuckling at his outburst. The test proctor, a C-class hunter named Han Myung-hwan, arrives to provide guidelines for the 3 levels of the test: written, practical, and aptitude. He emphasizes the seriousness of cheating, which could lead to disqualification. Disqualification, in turn, would prevent them from taking the exam in the upcoming year. In an intimidating tone, he reassures everyone in the room that they do not forgive cheaters, making it clear that honesty and integrity are paramount in becoming a hunter. Kang Jomo, the CEO of the JMM agency, drives while discussing a financial issue with his boss. The stress is evident on his face as the funds are not flowing into their agency as expected, despite their requirements for expenditure and investment. Glancing at his watch, he realizes that the Hunter exam is nearing its end, prompting him to rush to the Hunter Center. Inside the Hunter Center, Sang-woo successfully completes the written test and receives congratulations on his passing score. Surprisingly, the test turned out to be easier than he anticipated, similar to a simple driver's license test. He recalls during the exams that the written test was easy, as he only had to memorize a few things. During the practical, he was given ample time to practice even with the target so close. Even the aptitude test, resembling a moral examination found in grade school, he confidently passes as well. The process of becoming a hunter unfolds with an unexpected ease that surpasses Sang-woo's initial expectations. He wonders if the government's eagerness to mobilize citizens for monster hunting contributed to the streamlined process. However, he decides not to dwell on it too much and heads towards the exit. Outside, he observes individuals distributing cards and engaging in conversations with accomplished hunters. Sang-woo expects the guild agents to be recruiting new talents. Kang Junmo approaches him, offering his guild's business card and assistance during his hunting endeavors for a nominal fee. Intrigued, Sang-woo nods his head shyly and thanks Kang Junmo for his offer. During their discussion, Sang-woo receives an unexpected notification in his status window, an upgrade to his cloning skill. Now he can summon 2 clones simultaneously, a development that overwhelms him with excitement. Politely excusing himself, he sprints to return home, promising that he will contact Junmo another time. Back at home, Sang-woo harnesses his cloning ability to summon an additional clone. Bolstering his excitement for having his license, he declares they're now ready to become skilled hunters. Since he's distributed most of his cards, Junmo finds himself lost in contemplation while returning to his car. Memories of the Haeseong Guild resurface, reminding him of their involvement in money laundering and his choice to stand firm in his morality. He couldn't bring himself to stoop so low to play by those rules, so it resulted in his expulsion from the guild. Reflecting on his current financial pursuits, he wonders if he should have kept quiet. A call from Sang-woo interrupts his thoughts, requesting a face-to-face meeting. They arrange to meet at a coffee shop, where Junmo finds Sangwoo eagerly waiting. Over drinks, Sangwoo immediately seeks Junmo's recommendation for a safe training ground suitable for newcomers like him. Intrigued by Sangwoo's abilities, Junmo inquires about his skill, and Sangwoo mentions his cloning ability. Though Jomo outwardly praises it, he harbors secret doubts about its usefulness physically. Despite his reservations, Junmo extends a contract for Sangwoo to review. While Sangwoo reads the contract and captures its details, Junmo suggests the slime hunting ground as a safe option due to its minimal danger. However, the protective clothing has limited usage time due to the slime's poisonous gas upon death. Junmo then mentions the horn rabbit hunting ground as another safe choice because he can hunt for a long time due to a barrier but won't earn as much seeing that the rabbits are hard to catch. Sangwoo expresses that he would like to sign the contract. Junmo thanks him for his cooperation and asks him to pick one. But to Junmo's astonishment, the real Sangwoo appears responding no, and that he would like to sign for both hunting grounds. It becomes evident that the person in front of Jomo was a clone all along. Junmo is stunned by the unexpected sight, and a memory surfaces in his mind. He recalls a meeting with another hunter possessing a cloning ability, though the skill was limited to only creating mere illusions that could do no physical damage. Comparing those clones to the one sitting in front of him, Junmo notices stark differences. The ability of this clone to verify the contract and even drink coffee makes him realize that he has never seen such a skill before. Perplexed, he inquires if the individual seated before him is a twin, causing Sangwoo to laugh. Sangwoo reassures Junmo that the person is not his twin, but rather his clone. However, unlike others, this clone is physically tangible, resembling an actual human being. He also reveals the existence of a second clone, dispatched to the fitness center. He flexes confidently about the shared progression he and his clones share. This revelation astonishes Junmo further, contemplating the idea that Sangwoo's clones can potentially aid him in improving his stats. This impresses Junmo, prompting him to ponder whether Sangwoo, an F-class hunter, possesses far greater potential than initially perceived. Bringing the discussion back to the hunting grounds, Sangwoo asks if it is possible for the same person to enter two different hunting grounds simultaneously. Junmo explains that since there is a record of one's entry, it can be difficult. However, he assures Sangwoo that he will talk to the Hunters Association and make adjustments because the process will require Sangwoo's bracelet scanning and skill demonstration. Junmo asks Sangwoo to accompany him, but Sangwoo reveals that he cannot use his skill until tomorrow night due to the cooldown on it. Considering this, Junmo proposes that he visit the Hunter Center 2 days later and complete the process to get permission for duplicate access. Junmo gets up from his seat, energetically seemingly happy with their arrangement, and shakes hands with Sangwoo to finalize their agreement before parting ways.
Thank you for watching Manhwa Junkies. Don't miss out on the next episode of this series. Consider liking, subscribing, and turning on notifications to stay updated. Your next dose is on the way.